The royal flagship of the Zarnax Empire, a ship larger than a city, was badly damaged. This ship, called Vornax, carried the ruler of the Zarnax, Emperor Vulek. His empire was powerful, and many alien species feared him. But now, his great ship had fallen from the stars. One of the engines exploded during travel, and the ship lost control. The ship crash-landed on a cold, empty moon. The landing was rough, and systems inside the ship stopped working. The power core was broken, and all auto-repair robots failed for the first time in many years. The Emperor and his crew were trapped. The crew sent out a distress signal asking for help. But in that part of the galaxy, most species were either too far away or too scared to come near the Zarnax. Many thought, why help a dangerous empire? So the message went ignored. But one human saw it. His name was Tomel, a quiet, smart engineer living on a small human space station near Sector 9. Tomel was not famous. He had no fancy degrees or big titles, but he loved machines and spent his time fixing old ships. When Tomel read the signal, he sat up straight. The Zarnax royal ship is broken, he said to himself. That's serious. His friends told him, don't go. That ship belongs to Emperor Vulek. He doesn't think people. He rules with fear. But Tomel didn't care. He looked at his hands, full of grease and tiny burns from years of work, and said, machines don't care about politics. If something's broken, it should be fixed. He packed his tool spanners, cables, welding gloves, old code chips, and loaded them into his personal ship, Fixer 9. It was small, old, and ugly, but it worked. Tomel left quietly. He didn't ask for money or fame. He just wanted to help. After 2 days of flying, Tomel's ship reached the moon. The land was covered in black rocks and soft dust. In the middle stood the broken Zarnax flagship. Its hull was cracked, lights were off, and smoke floated out from one side. As soon as Tomel landed near it, guards surrounded him. They were tall silver armor and held strange glowing weapons. One of them shouted in a deep voice, human, you are not welcome here. Leave. Tomel raised his hand slowly. I saw your distress call. I came to help. The guards looked at each other. They didn't trust humans. But just then, a loud sound echoed through the ship. One of the power lines was breaking. Without waiting, Tomel walked over to a small box on the outside of the ship. Sparks flew out of it. He opened it quickly and pulled out a broken wire. Give me a moment, he said calmly. Using simple parts from his tool bag, copper, tape, and a heat clamp, he patched the wire in less than 1 minute. The sparks stopped. The buzzing ended. The panel lights turned green. The guards were shocked. One whispered, he just fixed a Class 7 power leak with human tools. Another said, should we call the Emperor? The captain of the guards hesitated, then gave a small nod. Let him in. Inside the massive ship, everything was quiet. Zarnax engineers and officers stood near machines that were completely dark. Holograms blinked, showing system failures. Robots stood frozen. The heart of the ship, the power core, was dead. Emperor Vulek stood tall in a room filled with glowing screens. His face was calm, but his eyes were full of worry. He was strong, with smooth gray skin and glowing eyes. He turned as Tomel entered. This human wants to fix the ship, Vulek asked. The guard captain replied, he already repaired an outer system in seconds. The Emperor looked at Tomel closely. What is your name? Tomel, he replied simply. I'm an engineer. You are not one of ours. You use tools from a primitive world. I use what works. Vulek said nothing for a moment, then turned away. The core is dead. Many have tried. Go ahead, human, try. Tomel nodded and went to the main control room. He knelt beside a broken panel and opened it. The wires were strange, soft, and alive, like roots of a tree. Human tech didn't work like this, but Tomel saw a pattern. He didn't panic. He studied. He cleaned. He tested signals with a handheld reader. Bit by bit, he began to understand the flow of Zarnax energy. Then, something clicked in his mind. The main power line isn't broken, he said aloud. It's blocked. He used a small pulse driver to clear the energy channels. Lights flash, screens turn on. A low hum filled the ship. The Zarnax engineers gasped. The core flickered, then glowed steady. The ship came alive. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Emperor Vulek stepped forward. "You've restarted the royal core," he said slowly, with no fear, no demand, just skill. Tomel wiped his hands with a cloth. It was just a blockage. To us, it was a death sentence, said one Zarnax engineer. Tomel shrugged. "Then I'm glad I came." The Emperor looked at him again, this time with something rare in his eyes: respect. Inside the great Zarnax ship Vornax, something had changed. The lights were now working. The systems were humming again. And the one responsible for this small miracle was not an alien scientist or a royal technician. It was a human named Tomel. He stood quietly near the power core, wiping his hands with a cloth. His eyes scanned the readouts. The energy flow was stable. The problem, as he had guessed, was simple: a blocked circuit deep inside the system. But to the Zarnax, who relied on automatic machines and never questioned their own designs, it had seemed impossible to fix. Now, they all stared at him. The guards who had once pointed weapons at him were silent. The engineers, dressed in dark green robes, whispered among themselves. No one could believe what they had seen. And then came the sound of boots, heavy and slow. Everyone turned as Emperor Vulek entered the room. Vulek was tall and calm, with skin like polished stone and sharp golden eyes. He did not shout. He did not need to. His presence alone made everyone stand still. He walked toward Tomel. "You came alone," the Emperor said, his voice low. "You were not invited. You are human. And still, you saved my ship." Tomel nodded slowly. "I saw the distress call. I thought I could help. You were not afraid?" Tomel looked the Emperor in the eye. "Machines don't care who you are. If something's broken, I fix it." Vulek studied him for a moment. Then, he gave a short nod. "You may continue." Over the next few hours, Tomel moved through the ship like it was his own workshop. He checked power lines, cooling vents, control systems, and even small life support tubes. Every time he found a problem, he fixed it with simple tools, clever hands, and no fear. The Zarnax engineers followed him everywhere, taking notes, asking questions, and sometimes just watching with wide eyes. At one point, an engineer named Rethan whispered to a fellow officer, "He understands our systems, and he's never even seen them before." Another replied, "Maybe that's why he can fix them. He looks with new eyes." Tomel didn't listen to the whispers. He just worked. Back in the royal chamber, Emperor Vulek watched the ship slowly return to life. He stood in front of a tall window, looking out at the cold moon surface. His top advisor, Commander Korin, stepped forward. "This human is unusual," she said. "Many would have stayed away. He came." "He did," the Emperor replied. "And now, the crew speaks of him like a legend." The Emperor turned his eyes from the window. "Let them speak," he said. "The galaxy is full of warriors and liars. But this one, he is a builder. We have not seen such a one in many years." By the end of the second day, Vornax was flying again. Tomel sat in a small room, drinking something warm and green Zarnax tea, offered by the ship's cook. He looked tired, but satisfied. Tools lay on the table. His clothes were dirty, but he smiled. Suddenly, a guard entered and said, "The Emperor wishes to see you alone." Tomel stood up and followed. In the royal chamber, the lights were soft, the air was still. Emperor Vulek sat on a tall, shining chair, shaped like a half-moon. He waved a hand, and the guards stepped back, leaving them alone. The Emperor looked at Tomel. "You fixed my ship. You asked for nothing. You brought no army, no threats, only tools and hands." Tomel said nothing. He wasn't sure what to say. "I must ask," Vulek continued. "Why?" Tomel thought for a moment, then said softly, "Because no one else came. Because someone needed help. And because I believe helping someone, no matter who they are, is the right thing to do." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then the Emperor smiled. It was not a cruel smile, or a false one. It was small and honest. You are different from what I expected, Vulek said. I get that a lot, Tomel replied. The Emperor stood. You are no longer a stranger. From this day forward, you are welcome among the Zarnax. You will not be forgotten. Tomel nodded. Thank you. That means a lot. Vulek raised a hand. You may rest now. Tomorrow, we speak of reward. Tomel blinked. Reward? The Emperor's eyes sparkled. Yes, he said, and it will not be small. Back in his guest room, Tomel looked out the window. Stars blinked above the dark sky. The Vornax floated peacefully above the moon now, engines quiet, systems calm. He thought of his small space station, his quiet workbench, his old tools. He never came here to become famous. He just wanted to fix something broken. But now, the whole galaxy might know his name, and something deep inside him said, this is only the beginning. Tomel woke up in a smooth silver bed inside a guest room, made for alien royals. The lights were soft, the walls glowed like a peaceful sunrise. For a moment, he thought he was dreaming. But it was all real. He had saved the royal ship Vornax, helped the Zarnax engineers, and even spoke alone with Emperor Vulek. Now, he was being treated like an honored guest on one of the most feared and advanced ships in the galaxy. Still, Tomel felt there was more to do. He dressed, picked up his toolkit, and walked through the long, shining halls of the ship. Everywhere he passed, crew members stared with quiet respect. Some even nodded or saluted. Zarnax soldiers never bowed to outsiders, but now they were showing signs of deep respect. One engineer, Rethan, ran up to him and said, the Emperor wants to speak to you again. But first, he asked if you will look at the ship's memory systems. They are old, and even our tech experts don't fully understand them. Tomel smiled. Of course, lead the way. The memory core was deep in the heart of the ship, protected by thick doors and scanning lights. It looked like a giant glass tree with glowing roots, holding billions of data threads. It stored everything: star maps, royal secrets, ship logs, even the Emperor's private records. The Zarnax engineers were nervous. One said, this system is ancient. It was built by our first ancestors. No one changes it. We only repair small parts. Tomel walked around it slowly. It's not broken, he said. It's slow. Your tech is great, but it depends too much on pattern memory. What do you mean? Rethan asked. Tomel touched a side panel and opened it. This core copies old paths again and again. But if the path gets damaged, it keeps trying the same one instead of choosing a new one. Can you fix it? Tomel smiled. Yes, but not with Zarnax tools. He pulled out a tiny black chip from his bag, something simple from Earth. Then, he connected it to the system and began typing code on a small pad. The Zarnax engineers watched in silence as strings of new code flowed into the glowing roots of the core. Suddenly, a soft ding filled the room. The lights around the memory core turned blue. The data lines became smoother. Old broken loops disappeared. New paths opened. The main screen above them lit up with a single message: full memory access restored. New logic paths enabled. The engineers gasped. One even dropped his scanner in shock. You did it, whispered Rethan. You repaired the memory core of the royal ship, something we never thought possible. Tomel stood up, brushing dust from his knees. It just needed a little help. Later that day, Tomel stood before Emperor Vulek again, this time in the Grand Hall. Tall golden statues lined the room. Flags of the Zarnax Empire hung from every wall. Dozens of high-ranking officers and nobles were present. The Emperor looked down at Tomel from his throne. You fixed the core of my ship, he said loudly, so all could hear. Not just the power lines, not just the systems, but the very heart of Vornax. You did what my best minds could not. Tomel stayed silent, his hands behind his back. You used tools from your world, the Emperor continued, and ideas that were not ours, and yet you brought life back to this ship. Everyone in the hall listened closely. I must now reward you, human, Vulek said. But gold is too small, weapons too simple, power too dangerous, so I offer you something greater. He raised a silver cube and pressed a button. A hologram of a starship appeared above it, shaped like a silver feather, smooth and glowing. "This is Velari 1, a ship made of living metal. It will follow your voice, learn from your thoughts, and travel faster than light without fuel." Tomel's eyes widened. "That's incredible." Vulek smiled. "It is yours." Gasps filled the room, but the Emperor wasn't finished. "You are now a royal ally of the Zornax Empire. You may travel freely through our lands. No one shall stop you. No one shall harm you. Your name, Tomel of Earth, will be known." Tomel was speechless. Finally, he said, "I didn't do this for reward. I only wanted to help." The Emperor stood. "That is why you deserve more than anyone else." News of the reward spread through the galaxy in hours. Ships from other planets paused. Messages flooded the stars. Rulers from other systems gathered, their advisors in panic. How could a human receive such honor? They asked, "Is the Emperor planning something? Will humans rise next?" Back on Earth, world leaders were shocked. Humans had always been seen as new, simple, and not very advanced. But now, one human had been rewarded by the most powerful alien ruler in the known universe. Suddenly, humans became important. But Tomel didn't care about fame. He walked quietly to his new ship, Velari 1. The ship opened for him like a flower, soft and glowing inside. It spoke in a kind voice. "Hello, Tomel. I am yours. Where shall we go?" He touched the wall gently. "Let's go home," he said. "There are others who need help too, far above the stars." The galaxy watched. One human. One ship. One act of kindness, and everything had changed. The news traveled faster than light. Tomel, the human who had fixed the royal flagship Vornax, had been named royal ally by Emperor Vulek himself. He was given a starship made of living metal, the Velari 1, and was now free to travel through the Zornax Empire without fear. This shocked the galaxy. Alien leaders whispered in dark rooms. Some called it a mistake. Others saw it as a threat. The humans, once seen as weak and unimportant, suddenly held a place among the most powerful. In the great hall of the Zornax capital, Emperor Vulek sat on his throne. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with purpose. Round him, his council of elders waited. "Your Majesty," one elder spoke, "the humans are unknown. Why honor one with such gifts? Our people fear it." The Emperor raised his hand for silence. "Fear is the tool of the weak," he said. Tomel showed courage. He used skill and kindness when others used weapons. He reminded us all that strength can come in many forms. The council murmured. Another elder said, "But what if humans grow too strong? What if this alliance turns against us?" Vulek's eyes narrowed. "Then we will face them, as all rulers do. But for now, I choose trust." Back on Earth, the news was different. Leaders and scientists gathered to discuss the strange new connection with the Zornax Empire. For years, humans had dreamed of exploring space, but the galaxy seemed too large and too dangerous. Now, the Emperor's gift made this dream possible. Tomel's starship, Velari 1, was not just fast, it was alive. It learned, adapted, and could travel across the stars with ease. For the first time, humans could reach worlds beyond their own system. Tomel stood on the deck of his new ship, watching Earth grow smaller behind him. He thought of his home, his small workshop, his friends, the quiet nights spent repairing old machines. But he also thought of the galaxy, full of unknown worlds and unknown people. He was not a soldier. He did not want war. But he knew one thing clearly. If I can fix a ship, maybe I can help fix the galaxy. Meanwhile, the galaxy reacted. Some species sent ambassadors to Earth. They wanted to learn about humans, to trade, and to build new friendships. Others prepared quietly, building ships and weapons just in case. Among those watching closely was the Trine Assembly, a powerful group of planets that had once ignored humanity. Now, they saw humans as equals or even rivals. The Trine ambassador, Mara, arrived on Earth with a team of diplomats. She met with world leaders and scientists, curious about the human who had earned the Emperor's trust. "Your species surprised us," Mara said. "We did not expect such skill and courage." Perhaps it is time we see humans not as newcomers, but as partners. Back on Velari 1, Tomel opened a school, a place where beings from many worlds could learn together. He invited Zarnax engineers, Trine scientists, and even young humans eager to explore space. The school was simple, with rooms filled with tools and books. Tomel taught that fixing things was not just about machines, but about understanding and respect. One day, a young alien asked, "Why do you help others, Tomel?" He smiled. "Because helping is the strongest power we have. It builds trust, not walls." But not everyone was happy. The Droven, a fierce species who lived near the edge of the galaxy, saw the new human Zarnax friendship as a threat. They feared humans might become too powerful. The Droven leaders met in secret. They planned to stop Tomel and his new alliance before it grew too strong. "We cannot allow humans to control the galaxy," said their leader. "We must act now." As the Droven prepared their plans, Tomel continued to build his new life. He traveled to distant planets, helped repair broken ships, and shared knowledge each day. More species joined the school. The galaxy was changing slowly, peacefully, because of one human's simple act. Emperor Vulek watched these changes with quiet pride. He had made a choice, and it was working. In a time when many chose fear and war, he chose trust and repair. And that choice stunned the galaxy. The galaxy was buzzing. News of the human named Tomel and his strange friendship with Emperor Vulek spread like wildfire. Messages flew between star systems. Ships from faraway worlds stopped to talk. Leaders gathered in secret meetings. Everyone wanted to know who was this human who had changed everything. On the planet Krylon, the capital of the Zarnax Empire, citizens crowded around giant screens. The news showed Tomel standing proudly beside Emperor Vulek. The Emperor's gift, a shining starship made of living metal, glowed brightly behind them. Many Zarnax cheered. They saw Tomel as a sign of hope, a new way forward. But others whispered in fear. "Why does the Emperor trust a human so much?" they asked. "Are we making a mistake?" In another system, the Trine Assembly held a meeting. Ambassadors sat in a large round chamber. The Trine ambassador, Mara, stood to speak. "This alliance between humans and Zarnax is unexpected," she said. "It changes the balance of power, but it also opens new possibilities." One ambassador shook his head. "Humans are young and untested. We should be cautious," Mara replied. "True strength comes not only from weapons, but from knowledge and trust. Tomel has shown us this back on Earth." Scientists and leaders watched the galaxy's reaction with mixed feelings. Some were proud. Earth had always dreamed of reaching the stars. Now, they were part of something greater. Others were worried. Could the humans handle such responsibility? Were they ready for this new role? Tomel didn't care about politics. He cared about fixing things. He traveled on his new ship, Velari 1, visiting worlds that once ignored humans. On the desert planet Orin, he helped rebuild water systems broken by storms. On the icy moon Xena, he repaired a colony's heating system that had failed during the long winter. Everywhere he went, he worked quietly, using both human tools and Zarnax technology. At the same time, Tomel's school grew. Aliens from many planets came to learn about fixing and building. They shared ideas and made friends. One day, a young girl from the Trine Assembly asked Tomel, "Why do you help others even when they are strangers?" Tomel smiled. "Because we are all connected. When one is broken, we all feel it. Helping brings us together." But not all reactions were kind. The Droven, a powerful and proud species, watched with growing anger. Their leader, Commander Crash, stood before his war council. "This human and his alliance threaten our power," Crash said. "They weaken us by joining others. We cannot allow this." The council agreed. They planned a secret attack on a human colony near their borders. Tomel learned about the attack from a messenger. Without hesitation, he called on the Zarnax fleet. Together, humans and Zarnax ships flew to defend the colony. The Droven ships arrived, expecting an easy victory. But they met a united force, humans and Zarnax side by side. The battle was fast and careful. Tomel did not want destruction. He used his ship's advanced systems to block attacks and help repair damaged vessels. His voice guided the fleet, not as a commander of war, but as a leader of peace. The Droven were surprised. They had not expected humans to fight with such skill and heart. In the end, the Droven retreated. After the battle, the galaxy was quiet. Many realized that the new human alliance was strong. Tomel did not celebrate victory. Instead, he focused on helping the wounded and rebuilding what was broken. He said, "This is not war. It is a chance to show what we can do when we work together." Emperor Vulek watched the news from his throne. He nodded. His choice to trust Tomel was the right one. He said quietly, "Strength is not just power. It is the will to build, to protect, and to heal." Across the stars, a new chapter was beginning. One human had repaired a royal ship. One human had earned the respect of an emperor. One human was showing the galaxy that kindness and skill were the greatest powers of all. The galaxy was changing fast. To Mel, the human who had repaired the Zornax Emperor's royal ship, was now a symbol of hope and unity. His starship, Velari 1, sailed through space, helping planets and teaching others to build and repair. But not everyone was happy. Far at the edge of the galaxy, in the dark and rocky world of Droven Prime, Commander Crash gathered his leaders in a secret cave. His eyes burned with anger. "The humans in Zornax grow stronger every day," Crash said. "They share knowledge, build ships, and bring others into their alliance. If we do nothing, we will lose our power." One leader spoke, "We must act before they become unstoppable." "Their friendship is dangerous," Crash nodded. "We will send spies to learn their secrets. We will sabotage their new school and weaken their fleet." Meanwhile, on the Zornax capital planet, Tomel's school buzzed with activity. Aliens of all kinds worked side by side, learning how to fix machines, understand new technology, and share ideas. Tomel moved through the rooms quietly, smiling as young engineers tested new tools. One day, Rethan, the Zornax engineer, came to him with a worried look. "Tomel, we found signs of sabotage on the shipyard where your new starships are built. Some parts are missing or broken." Tomel frowned. "Sabotage? Who would do this?" Rethan shook his head. "We don't know yet, but we must be careful." Tomel called a meeting with his closest allies, the Zornax commanders, Trine diplomats, and human engineers. "We face enemies who want to stop us," Tomel said. "But we cannot let fear rule us. We will protect our school, our ships, and our friends." He looked around the room. "Our strength is in trust and knowledge. Let's use that." That night, under the shining stars, Droven spies crept toward the school. They carried devices to cut power and steal blueprints. But Tomel was ready. The Velari 1 hummed softly, its living metal sensing danger. Guards patrolled the halls quietly, prepared but calm. When the spies tried to enter, they were stopped not by weapons, but by teams of engineers who had set traps of light and sound, confusing the attackers. Tomel spoke to the Droven spies through a communicator. "Why do you come to harm those who only want to build and learn?" he asked. The leader replied coldly, "You grow too strong. We cannot allow it." Tomel answered, "Strength comes from helping, not destroying." The failed attack did not stop the Droven. They began a campaign to spread fear and lies about humans. Some species believed the rumors. They said humans wanted to control the galaxy. They said Tomel was using his power to rule. But many others refused to believe such stories. Rethan said, "People want to believe what they fear, but they see the truth in our work." Tomel nodded. "Then we must keep building, keep helping." To show unity, Tomel organized a great event. Leaders from many worlds gathered on the Zornax capital planet. Humans, Zornax, Trine, and others met in a huge hall filled with banners and lights. Tomel spoke to the crowd. "We are different," he said, "but that is our strength. Together, we can build a future where no one fears the other, where knowledge and kindness guide us." The crowd cheered. Even Emperor Vulek stood and nodded. The Droven watched the event from afar. Their plans failing, Crash slammed his fist on the table. "We will not lose." He sent secret messages to his fleet. "Prepare for battle." The time to strike will come. But Tomel was not afraid. He knew war was possible. But he believed in peace. He continued to teach, repair, and build alliances. One day, a young alien asked him, Tomel, what gives you courage? He smiled and said, courage is knowing what is right, even when others doubt you. It is helping when it is hardest. As the galaxy waited, the human who repaired the royal ship stood ready, not as a warrior, but as a builder of peace. The stars were watching, and everything was about to change. The stars were silent, but everyone in the galaxy could feel the change. From one small act of human fixing a broken ship, a new path had opened, a path built on trust, not fear, a path where different species could work together. But this new future was still young, and many eyes were watching. On the far side of the galaxy, the Drovan fleet stood ready. Their warships floated near the edge of Zarnak's space. Silent and armed, Commander Crash walked the command deck with tight fists. In a sharp voice, we have waited long enough, he said to his officers. The human and his allies grow stronger every day. We must show the galaxy we are not afraid. The plan was simple. Launch a surprise attack on a peaceful trade route, one shared by Zarnax. Trine and human ships. Crash believed the strike would shatter their alliance and spread fear. But Tomel had learned to listen. Back on Valari 1, Tomel stood in the command room. Lights glowed softly around him. A quiet warning tone played on the screen. Drovan ships gathering near border point 9. The ship's voice said. Tomel pressed a button. The screen showed the Drovan fleet forming in deep space. It was clear they were planning something big. He called a quick meeting with Emperor Vulek, Ambassador Mara of Trine, and the Earth Alliance commander, Dara. We don't have much time, Tomel said. We can't let them start a war, but we also can't attack them first. That would destroy everything we've built. Vulek nodded. Then what do you suggest? Tomel took a deep breath. Let me go there. Let me talk to them alone. Dara looked worried. It's too dangerous. But Vulek understood. He has done the impossible before. Let him try. Soon, Valari 1 moved quietly through space, heading straight toward the Drovan fleet. The living metal ship shimmered as it passed through light and shadow. The Drovan ships saw him coming. They aimed weapons, ready to fire. Crash gave the order. Wait, let's hear what the human wants. Tomel's image appeared on their main screen. He stood tall, calm, and unarmed. Commander Crash, Tomel said, I came not to fight, but to talk. Crash's eyes narrowed. Talk? After you and your kind joined our enemies? We didn't choose enemies. Tomel said gently, we chose peace. We chose to help others. That's not weakness, it's strength. You build a union that makes us look small. Crash growled. No, Tomel replied. We build something others can join. Even you? The room was silent. You fear change, Tomel continued. But this galaxy is changing with or without us. Why not be part of something better? Crash stared at the screen. Part of him wanted to give the order to fire, but another part, small but growing, began to wonder. What if the human was right? Back on Zarnax Prime, the leaders waited. Then the message came. The Drovan fleet is standing down. No shots fired. A wave of relief spread across the stars. Tomel had done it again, not with weapons, but with words. Weeks passed. The galaxy slowly calmed. The Drovan didn't join the alliance, but they agreed to peace talks. That was enough for now. Tomel returned to his school, where even more students had arrived. Zarnak's children, Trine engineers, Drovan thinkers, and young humans sat side by side. They didn't care about fear or old anger. They came to learn. One evening, as stars twinkled above, Tomel stood on the balcony of the school, looking out at the sky. Emperor Vulek joined him. You changed many things, Vulek said. Some say you changed the galaxy. Tomel smiled. I only fixed a ship. Vulek chuckled. Maybe. But sometimes, fixing a small thing repairs something greater. Tomel looked thoughtful. There's still more to do. There always is, Vulek replied. And now, you won't do it alone. And so, a new chapter began. Ships flew between worlds with open doors. Peace was not perfect, but it had a chance. Because one human had chosen to help instead of fear. To build instead of destroy. To speak instead of fight. And in doing so, he had stunned the galaxy. The end.